Attention, attention. All units report to your favorite podcast stat. This is That's So RN, where we decode the chaos, call out the cracks, and care a little louder. Let's scrub in. Oh my goodness. All right. Hi, guys. I am Logan. This is Fega. You are now watching a new episode of That's So RN, but we're in our mini-series, the first episode. It is called Clinical Code Switch, where we talk about all things minorities. Minorities in healthcare, how they're represented, how they're treated, and just a number of things. But before we really tap into our episode, I'm going to let my little Faye give a little intro, whatever you want to tell the people back home.
Hello, people back home. Hello, my nurses. Hi, like she said, my name is Fega. I am a nurse. Number one, that is the title that I carry, and I love it. I love my job. I love what I do. So I'm a nurse. I'm many other things, too. I'm a mom and all the other things, but I'm a nurse. Currently, I work in a role as a clinical educator / a business owner. I did start a nurse agency, an international nurse recruitment agency called AOLA, and we also do nurse mentorship. So, like I said, nursing is my jam. I'm in all parts of nursing. I'm for workforce advocacy. I'm for workforce equality and fairness. I'm for minority equality and fairness as well. So, that's my jam.
I'm literally laughing because when I met you, I'm like, wow, I met somebody who actually loves med-surg.
Listen. Just as much as I know, right? Because people run away from this. Like, it's the basis, okay? You need a foundation. You need that foundation.
And
it's so important.
People are so scared, and they're like, I absolutely hate this, but if you can do med-surg, you literally can do anything.
Yes.
But I digress. So today we're talking about...
That's not this series.
No, that's another series. So today we'll be talking about, like I said, just minorities, your experiences, my experiences, some things that other people may be going through and might not necessarily want to talk about. Firstly, understanding what we are considering minorities. So when you think of a minority, like, what do you think of? Okay,
girl, let me first say, right, we're going to be candid and honest and transparent, okay? God. You can edit it in the back.
I'm actually not going to edit this.
Okay, well, so no, for real though, like when you first brought this topic, because we talked about doing this together and me featuring, I was like, let's go. And then when you said me that it was this topic, I was like, girl, I was scared. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I was scared because it's such a sensitive conversation, right? And you have to be very selective and intentional about how you say and what you say, especially when you, like me, I represent a company, and then just separating that, I also work for other companies, and my face and my name is associated with things. So I was just like, okay, well, I don't know. I was a little nervous, but then I was like, girl, listen, we having these conversations anyway. Right? We all have these conversations privately amongst ourselves. So why not have that conversation on a platform where change can actually be initiated, right? Yeah. And not by figureheads and people that they hired as come and talk about
kind of buffer it,
you know? But it's from our lived experiences and our perspective, and just share what you feel. And I'm like, you know what? I think I could do it. Let me step up in here.
I was honestly nervous about starting this series, this podcast thing, because I know me, I'm very vocal in the hospital setting, and people know me, and when they see me, they know I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Say what it is.
And that's just what it is. And not that I'm not thinking about it, but it's also okay, well, if we keep being quiet about certain stuff, when are we actually gonna have a change happen?
Right.
Somebody has to be the scapegoat, and I guess it'll be me. I'll always be the problem in this situation.
Volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, I will always be the problem, so it's just kind of stuff that keeps happening. It's people talk about it here and there. You see videos and people saying stuff on TikTok, on YouTube, and all that, but it's just okay, more people need to be talking about this. Not enough people are talking about this for me.
Right, they're all
so
scared.
That's really why I wanted to talk about it. So just going back to that question, what do you think
Yes, my bad. Yes, there was a question.
And I digress.
I digress.
No, you're fine.
We can't digress this whole podcast, girl. We got to follow a plan.
No, we have to follow our bullets.
Okay, so what do I think of when I think of minorities? So minorities, I see it as a group of people that were not necessarily considered well, maybe not saying consider, but a group of people where like when a system is designed, the system is not necessarily designed around your lived experience, right? So, because I guess maybe because there's not enough of y'all, I guess hence the word minority.
Yeah.
But whenever these systems and policies and things are created and developed, you're not a central focus on how these things are meant to run. Mm-hmm. So that's the general.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
And especially in our area, we have a number of different minorities and people that we come in contact with.
Yeah.
And it almost makes me sad because they're considered a minority, but there's a large bulk of them that kind of outweigh what we consider the majority of people,
Right.
or those that, like you said, that population that we're kind of tailoring those policies, those means to. So I think it's really good that we're talking about.
Yes, no, for sure. Yes, because I mean, it's not fair that those people are not considered, right? And it's like I can understand when you're building a system. It's like how much can I really put into consideration when I'm creating a system, right?
Exactly.
And that's why these conversations are important, because then there are ways, because they might think, well, we're just gonna do a little module, and that's like inclusion, and that's But then when the system itself is designed, did you right? Like, did you really consider me? Like when you're saying behave professionally, and when you're defining what professional looks like, are you considering all the natural ways that people could be, right? So I could be in a space where like I'm speaking assertively and I'm telling you what needs to be done, and I'm saying what I believe to be the truth. And to somebody, they could feel threatened and be like, oh, she's aggressive. Oh, that girl rough.
Oh,
but it's
God.
like, girl, that's just how I talk.
Yeah.
Like, especially like coming from the Bronx too, where I worked at the Bronx. So the nurses that I met there, when they talk, and I'm like, girl, we fighting?
What are you trying
like,
to
you
say?
good? But then it's like, they're like, girl, this is how I talk. Like, this is where I'm from. And they talk like this, and they use their hands. But they're brilliant, excellent nurses. They know their stuff. But it's just, if you're not exposed to something like that, or if you're not like cognizant of just different people's lifestyles, you might sit there and be like, oh, that girl, she's not professional. So when I want to select a professional person, I'm not going to select her. I'm going to select the quiet-spoken, soft-spoken, like
not
agreeable.
The difficult one,
And it's like, well, I got to be difficult. Like this is how I was born. Like this is just how I talk.
And like
right?
to piggyback off of what you said, I think that's why it's so hard for people that are considered minorities to have those conversations in those settings. It's just like, I don't want to come off that way to somebody else, but like I also need you to understand what I got going on, why I feel this way.
Yeah.
And to an extent, some of the things that happened, I had to sit the other day and just think, it's really hard for me to explain to somebody the things that I go through if they have not personally experienced it for themselves,
right,
you know?
Right, the microaggressions. Because, like, it's kind of like a ghost, right? I watched this movie that I don't remember now where, like, it was a play on that, whereas, like, we know, like, you feel it, you know it's there, but you can't explain it to somebody else for them to understand that it's real because they don't see it.
I'm not lying. This is the truth.
Right, but it's like, no, girl, what? I never experienced that. Of course you never experienced that, Becky. We have very different perspectives on this.
Well, and then, too, I think now more people are being exposed to that.
Right.
And now they're like, whoa. And it's just like, I mean, I've been dealing with this my whole life.
Right. Like, it's not new.
I had a patient one time being not so nice to me, and they were just being very racist. And one of my coworkers, I love her to death, she was just very hurt, very upset. Like, she was crying. And I'm just like, what's wrong? And she's just like, oh, well, like, that's not right. It's no reason that you should be getting treated that way. Like, I don't like that.
We love an ally.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, you're not doing anything to me.
Right.
I'm just like, I cannot hold you accountable for others' ignorance and the things that they do, especially being that I am a woman of color. There's a lot of things that I've dealt with. I don't necessarily always speak on it, but I'm like, we deal with stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like you said, microaggressions. Or I remember one time working the floor, and we had a new doctor coming in, and he was just taking, I think I was maybe the most experienced nurse on the floor at the time. He was just taking everything, you know, with a grain of salt. And then some people would tell him stuff that necessarily didn't look like me, and he'd be like, okay, we'll do this. Or they'll tell him, hey, I did this, I put these orders in, I put these labs in. But then when it comes to me telling you that I need something or telling you that I'm going to do something, it's like second guessing it or questioning it or coming back and double checking. And it's just like, why are you doing that with me? I literally have the most experience up here, and I've worked with, I mean, you're attending, the people that are training you. And those people don't play no games. So they run a strict program, and I know how to do what I need to do and get what I need to get.
Yeah.
So just little things like that I don't think people take into consideration that can be detrimental and harmful in the long run to some people. I see why people get burnt out on stuff like that. I mean, simple as that. Not even with the conditions and pay and other things in mind. Just like the simple...
Just that treatment, right? Yeah, it's feeling very invisible. Or invisible? Listen, y'all. Okay, the accent. I'm trying, okay? But it's like invisible, right? It's feeling invisible. Because when like a system is created without you in mind necessarily, someone's like, you got to like do the most to be seen. You got to do the most to be acknowledged, right? Because I mean, from your story, you're just sort of like, you're not there by accident. Right? Because they didn't. I have the degrees. I have the qualifications. Like, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't qualified to be here, right?
Exactly.
However, we got to go that extra mile, that extra step to prove to people that we want to be heard, we want to be seen, we need to be respected, we need to be looked after, we need to be cared for, like all of that. And just from, I guess, from our nursing perspective, we've seen it with like each other, with our colleagues. We've also seen it from the patient's perspective as well, whereas like minority patients may get, you know, they feel like they might have to do a little more to be seen. They have to do a little more for their pain to be acknowledged, or for like their experiences to be valid. Whereas like they could be like, oh, this person's just having a difficult day versus this is a difficult person. Right? So it's like, okay, right, exactly. And it's like, it's, you know, depends on if it's a minority or not. It's like, oh, they're in pain, help them out. Versus like, they're drug seeking, get them out of here. You know, and that's terrible because like all of that, they're the micro things that have kind of just been weaved into society and just how people are, that some people are not even cognizant.
Normalized it,
they don't even know that they're participating in that kind of behavior.
You're an active member of this bullshit.
Like, hello, you contributed, sir, ma'am.
And it's so funny because I think now that more people are bringing it to the forefront, we're seeing a lot more organizations and jobs where they're like, oh, you might look at their advertisement and they're, you know, blatantly being loud about inclusivity and
diversity,
all these things. And then you're reading some of the things and statements that these said people are saying, and it's just like, that's very generic. Like, did they say this or did you want them to say this? And I think sometimes seeing that just overshadows actual lived experiences that people go through on a day-to-day basis. It's just like, oh, well, they're trying. You see, they got this, a person that looks like me up there representing them. It's just like, eh.
Like I said, doing the little module of equality and diversity and inclusion. And we love everybody. So watch this because we love everybody. And
then you get there and you get treated like crap and you're like, I did not sign up for this. This was not the type of time that I was trying to be on with
exactly,
y'all.
And it has a way of silencing you too, because I guess you don't want to be a problem, but you're like, oh, well, this feels a little kind of hostile of an environment,
so,
It feels like I don't belong here. Kind of, but they were like, well, yeah, you do. We did all these things on your behalf. And I think that's, I guess, the gap between like our lived experiences and like the policies that they put in place of like, we are inclusive and all those things. But a lot of times, unfortunately, it's not reflective of our lived experiences. And it just makes me wonder, I'm like, when y'all put these things together, who are you talking to?
No, literally.
Like, who helped you? Who has sent you? Because like,
who
what?
did this? Because they didn't consult with anybody that actually knows what's going on.
Exactly. That is not how we live over here. Like, when it's like, oh, I want to talk about the different kinds of holidays we celebrate and the things that we honor here.
Don't get me started with
Juneteenth. Listen, you already know that was where I was going, right to Juneteenth.
I was like...
Because it's like, y'all don't, it's Juneteenth. I don't feel no love around here. It is like,
it's the menu for me, the chicken, the cornbread, and the watermelon.
And it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be like, thank you, master.
Nope.
Hello?
No sides in sight. I said, okay.
No, thank you. Okay.
And like I said, it's not just to, you know, one particular organization. Even the big corporations. Places that we go shop every day. They do the same thing. And it's almost like, I don't even want to say this because I don't want it to come off the wrong way, but it's just like I said earlier, you really can't understand unless you go through that. But I also don't want you to go through that because I know
because it's terrible.
Yes, because I know how that feels.
And
like I know how that made me feel. And there has been several instances where I have I mean, you kind of talked about it earlier, how we have to do a little bit extra. Well, I've done the most. I've done all the things, and I still ended up feeling like, what did I do that for? Like, I'm not being recognized. It hasn't gotten me any leverage in any of these situations. And it's like, why am I doing all this for people who don't necessarily care?
Right, and they don't appreciate my efforts. Yeah.
When I went back to school, like, that was a big thing. I had been telling them my 1-year plan, my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan. So I've been with this particular place for a while. But I was telling them about my plans. I had gotten through school, graduated, and they were just like, oh, what do you plan to do now? And it's just like, you know what I plan to do.
Right, I told you.
I told you what I wanted to do.
Right, I told you my 1, 2, 5, 3, 10-year plan.
And you're acting like you don't know what's going on. Right. So then I'm like moving on, and they're just very distraught, upset, and it's just like, oh, well, we wanted you here, but like, you can call me to work extra shifts, and you can call me to do all these things, and stay PRN, you work so hard. And it's just like, you're not going to use me.
Right.
You're not going to use me. So I'm really excited just for this series in general. And it might be a little bit of a biased series. This mini-series probably has the most episodes. Just because I feel like it's so much that needs to be talked about and kind of tapped into on that standpoint. And there's so many of us that aren't willing to say anything. And I mean, I'm hoping people listen and they feel heard and they feel like somebody actually cares and is representing them.
For sure.
And maybe stuff that they all want to say too and just are too scared.
Right.
At this point, I just truly, which I get, like, wanting to represent your brand and all that, but I just truly feel like, I mean, if not me,
if not us, then who?
You
no,
know?
For sure, yeah. And I hope this can also encourage, like, my male nurses to jump in the conversation too, because they are technically a minority in nursing, right? And I don't know how true this is, but I read somewhere that part of why, because back in the day, nurses had to wear dresses and skirts to work, and part of the inclusivity
some still do it.
Some of them still do, and I be like, good for y'all, God bless y'all, okay? Because I can't. I'm running to a code with a skirt. Like, come on, make it make sense.
It's me running in the shoe store with my clogs on to make sure I can get to the code.
No ma'am, that's not kosher anymore. However, I mean, do you? Okay, diversity, inclusivity, if that's what you like it, I love it. Good for you. But like, a part of diversity inclusion is when they started allowing wearing pants and trousers so men can, because I mean, imagine a man coming in here and I gotta wear
with
a skirt. Come on, okay? So there are steps and actions being taken to be more diverse and to be more included. But like, I mean, obviously there's always gonna be more to do. Right?
Always.
There's always going to be more to do, but it's good to acknowledge what's been done. And I feel like still men may feel like, oh, there's no space for them. Like, they just want to go to the heavy hitters, like ICU, ER, because they feel like that's where their brute force is needed, or like psych. They love, but I love a male in psych.
They love a coach strong, boom, boom.
Like, they show up with the
muscles.
As they should. So, like, it's all around, right? It's diverse. It's diversity in terms of like race, our gender, sex, all of it, right? Because everybody has a bit of the story that they've experienced of feeling like marginalized. Where like, when this system was designed, I feel like I wasn't central to developing this plan. So like, this shoe fits many of us, right? So that's why it's a conversation, like you said, it needs to be had.
And I feel like this would be the most easy topic for me to talk about on the podcast, whether I have a guest or not, just because it is something that is just so prevalent in my life.
Right.
And still is.
It's your lived experience, right? Because you are minorities in so many ways. You're a Black woman. You're a highly educated nurse. She has her doctor's clock it. Okay, that's also very, even just in nursing, that there's not a lot of nurses that have gone all the way up to get their doctors.
And you don't need that. And somebody was telling me that the other day. They're like, you don't need a doctorate degree to be a CEO or CNO. And I'm like, no, I don't. But I also need you to understand. And I said it just like this: as a Black woman, I've always had to do a little bit extra. And even when I do the extra, I'm still not necessarily seen.
Right.
Even when I've done it. So it's just like, I want to be able to say I have all the boxes crossed and checked, and there's no rhyme or reason to why I don't qualify for these things.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also with that, just bringing that awareness to people. I want it to be, we're bringing awareness, we're getting it out there, and it's something that's sticking. I don't want you to be inclusive and all that for me for 2 weeks, and now we're
back to the status quo.
Yeah, we back on the same stuff, and it's just like, Well, what did we learn?
Right.
What did we learn?
Right, let's have a moment. Hello.
Because obviously nothing.
Clearly. Right.
So I just think that this will be really good. And like I said, just when I started this podcast, it was more so for a venting safe space. And everybody was like, you can't talk about this. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's just like, I'm not saying any names.
Yeah.
I'm not physically, or intentionally verbalizing, going after anybody. I'm just, like you said, telling my experiences, what I've dealt with, what I see on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, just being that voice for others that might not necessarily be brave enough to. Because I'm going to be quite honest. If I could tell my leader, I'll tell you a joke, but I'll never tell you a lie. And then I was like, ooh. And then I was like, you know what? It's out there now. Like, if I could do that, it's just like, I really have nothing to lose.
Right.
I'm not hurting anybody by doing this,
Yeah.
And I'm just, you could go be a nurse anywhere. You have a license. You could do whatever you want. So it's just kind of like having that mindset.
Right.
You got to be brave. Strong on that front.
Brave. You got to be brave. You got to be fearless.
And I think this is the first time I've recorded in like a month. I have like 14 series that I want to do, including like regular seasons and mini series.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, during that time when I wasn't recording, I'm like, well, maybe I should just give it up and not do this. And I'm like, well, no. I'm like, somebody else might be feeling this way.
Exactly, yeah.
Be okay to share that and get that information out there.
Yeah, you got to be consistent.
Drop your girl.
Keep it. I was like, you can't stop, okay? Because you really never know. It's so hard. I know, girl. Hard. Like, but you just never know. Even if it's one person under some rock somewhere that's like waited to hear it.
I hope this reaches you.
I got you.
I hope this reaches you, babe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just for the sake of that person, you got to keep going because every experience is unique. But believe you me, there's somebody else somewhere that's like understanding. Like, yeah, even if there's no solution offered, but there's a conversation had of like, I see you. I felt it too. Yeah, like it's so important. So I'm glad you're doing this, and I'm happy to feature on this. Okay.
You're probably gonna be on more. You're probably gonna be on more episodes because it's literally a good time.
Yes.
And I have a whole bunch of stuff, like I said, just lined up, things that I want to do. So it's really makes me feel good, and I appreciate you taking time out to do this. Because that just kind of helps fuel me. It's like, okay, people actually support you. And even if nobody supported me, I mean, I would still do it. It might be a little bit harder, and I might not be as motivated, but just
no, you got to keep it up. Yeah, and that's part of the things that, like, you need that. I guess I'm glad you actually mentioned that because just part of how we have to cope and deal with being underrepresented or being minorities in this space is like community is so important.
Oh, God,
right? It's so important to have people that can relate to your experience, people that support you, people that see you. And we don't have to be the same, but just understanding that, like, I see you.
Yeah,
and even that goes such a long way.
You can still tell me and get it off your chest.
Right. I mean, I'm a compliment giver. Especially when I see a black woman, I'm like, girl, you wearing that. Okay, I love that. Like, because people feel seen, and it's so important to feel seen.
And it's the little things. It really is the little things.
Yeah, so for sure, we do this for the people.
We do this for y'all.
We do it for us too, girl.
Yeah, we do it for
hello.
We do it for us. We do it for y'all too.
Yes, all inclusive, all inclusive.
But I mean, do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up the episode?
Well, what I do want to say is I want to encourage healthcare leaders. I want to encourage nurses alike as well to have these conversations. I know it's very uncomfortable. It's a conversation that people kind of shy away from when it comes to like expressing how you feel as far as like, feeling underrepresented or feeling like something had happened that you feel kind of erases you a little bit. Like when you bring that up, like it might feel uncomfortable. I want to encourage y'all to sit with that discomfort because when you feel that discomfort, something is being rubbed up against of like, okay, perhaps you've not been taught or shown how to manage or how to handle this thing that's occurring. So instead of shying away from it and shutting down the conversation, I want to encourage us to have that conversation. Be uncomfortable. Say that you're uncomfortable and say that, but I want to learn. I would like to understand your perspective, right? And then we'll have that conversation with open mind and intent to truly understand each other, right? Because you may not mean to have come off a certain way. The intent behind an action sometimes doesn't necessarily match the outcome. And when it doesn't align, I think it's our responsibility to listen and try to understand what happened and how can we prevent that? Because at the end of the day, we want everybody to feel happy and
Yes.
welcome. And like, we have to share the space. The earth was made for all of us, okay? Not just one specific group of people. We all have to live together. And the best way for us to live together amicably is by us having these conversations in safe space and knowing that it's not a personal attack, right? I separate people from behavior, right? Because you did a thing. You're not that thing, but you did a thing. So we can talk about that thing and how can we make sure that going forward, we can both feel represented and we can both feel safe in this space, right? Because don't take it personal, ma'am, sir, all of the above, right?
Yeah.
It's just, this is what I've experienced and it made me uncomfortable. And the person you're talking to, well, this conversation makes me uncomfortable, but it's like, but we need to talk about it, right? Because the only way we can get better is that we talk about it.
And
right?
I'm glad you mentioned like a safe space. Also on the other end of that spectrum, people that might not be dealing with this, if somebody's bringing that to you, being able to just be open-minded enough to sit and listen to them, how they feel and what they need to say.
Right.
And don't listen to immediately just try to understand or try to respond to what they're saying. Literally take the time to analyze and break down everything and just kind of put the pieces together that way.
Right. Yeah, even if it's just listening and just being like, okay, I'm gonna just let you get it off your chest.
Because I think that's a big problem too. Like, not the safe space. You're telling me it's a safe space.
Right, but it doesn't
But
feel.
it's really not.
Because as soon as I start talking, you're like, but wait, no, we did. No, but it's like, why are you getting defensive already? Like, can I get
like this conversation. We're just going to go ahead and end this right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And then change doesn't happen. Progress doesn't happen.
And everybody walking around booted up mad.
You know, and are we really being productive? Is your company really thriving?
Not at all.
Okay, so it's okay to be uncomfortable. Okay, as long as the only way through it is through it. Okay, you got to go through it to get out of it. Okay, that part.
No, I totally agree, and I really appreciate you coming on here,
ma'am.
vocalizing and verbalizing your experiences, how you feel. I cannot wait to tap more into this season as a whole. Upcoming episodes, I think we're talking about like just more details into a clinical setting. I think we have an episode on specifically just male nursing.
Ooh, talk about inclusivity.
Times when things were happening like COVID, just a bunch of other things, how certain stuff is not necessarily for us, how we're not necessarily protected, but how we are expected to perform to certain levels and things of that nature. I should have bought a game or something for us to play.
A game? What you want to do, patty cake?
No, I had like an actual game, but I didn't bring the cards, but that's okay.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, let's say maybe next time, because I'm sure you will be back.
Well, I don't know. You can't afford me now, girl.
I know. Your price don't went up, baby. I'm going to have to call your manager to book with you.
That part. Okay, talk to my people.
Well, as always, I will leave my email down below. You guys can send any comments, concerns, stories, questions, and they will be read on an episode that correlates with how you feel, or I'll even be starting to do TikTok lives where I get on and answer those questions, whether you send them there or you submit them directly to the chat. Until next time, I don't have anything else. So me and Fega are going to go ahead and sign off. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we will be interacting with you soon.
Peace.
Bye.